there a doctor in the building? Is there a doctor in the building? I believe there's two. That's right. Welcome y'all to this Boom Bap Breakfast right here on the Remix Morning Show on Black Power Media. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. Let me introduce you to your host with the most from the East Coast, straight from Baltimore for sure, Dr. Jared Book.
What's up, good people? What's up? Hey, we got to clarify things for the folks in the DMV so I don't get people upset. I am not from Baltimore. I work in Baltimore. I respect Baltimore.
Okay.
Shout out to Tubman City. But I'm not from Baltimore, and I don't live in Baltimore. So I want to make sure everybody's clear and doesn't get upset. And I know Baltimore's not part of the DMV, but I'm just saying it anyway because I am. So anyway.
Where you originally
from? Relax. I was born in Washington, D.C., the home of the go-go and the pocket. And I grew up and live now in Howard County in Columbia, Maryland, the one of the most famous planned cities in the country.
Okay. Well, big up to Trenton, New Jersey, where I'm from. Also, right out of Trenton, where I lived in White City. Why they call it White City? A lot of people thought because they sold coke. But no, it was because the white stairs that people had on the they had white stairs. A lot of people had white stairs, so they called it White City. I don't get it, but anyway, big up.
It was about the coke.
It was.
Talking about white stairs and steps.
You know what I'm saying? Selling all that, boo. Yo, how was your weekend, man?
It was good until this morning when I got to do this show decaffeinated in preparation for this doctor's appointment that I'm leaving early for. So okay. I'm not going to be happy until about, I don't know, 11 o'clock. So it's decaffeinated JB this morning.
Man. Listen, well, I want to give a shout out to this black coffee company I went to down the street, but I don't want to put them on blast. But it tastes like they poured hot water over beans straight into the coffee.
Oh man,
I mean,
that's why we don't have nice things. If they call pouring water over beans,
it's so watery, it's ridiculous.
My wife sent me somebody's, I don't know, TikTok or Instagram that said. It started off and it looks like you see somebody brewing a nice, green tea, and it says, and the audio comes in, you hear this woman say, replacing your morning coffee with green tea will remove about 80% of your daily happiness.
It's good for you and everything, but it just don't kick you like that coffee, boy.
Man, I cracked up. I was like, that's the truth. I was like, man, I feel 80 to 85% less happy right now, man.
Because I tried to do it with some chai tea, because it got the consistency is a little thicker. I was like, okay, I can rock this chai tea right here instead of coffee, but
everything's a front. Look, I know they're doing wonderful. I know I'm a happy vegan and I love what they're doing with the vegan foods, but there's nothing better than a grilled burger. You know what I'm saying? Some ribs. The vegans have it. They can't. I mean, I know what the real is. Yeah. So, it's the same thing, man. I mean, these teas and whatever might be nice or whatever, but man, oh man, boy, oh boy.
When the last time you had a good pork chop?
Oh man, I haven't had pork. I mean, that was the first thing that went because I was on that early that hip hop, that 80s don't eat pork.
That's right. The 5% is
fly revolutionary.
That's right.
No, so I haven't had. I mean, really, since like the 80s. I don't think literally since the 80s, I haven't had pork at all. And but I still remember what the Chinese joint that was across the street from my house and what their ribs tasted like.
It came in a little silver tin packs. Is y'all
the silver, and then they. I remember they yeah, they did, and then they I just remember everything about it. Still, it's been like 40 years. And so I get it. But
I stopped eating chicken before I had a chicken wing, like the hot wings. I've never had a hot wing. Are you
serious?
I've never had a hot wing. I stopped eating chicken in like 94, 95. And I've never had like In Atlanta, home of the hot wings. I've never had a hot wing.
My last pre-vegan birthday, we went to the some wings joint, and I probably had like 100. I don't know if I knew it was the last time I was going to have wings, but I ate like it was the last time.
It's impossible for it to be that many chickens in this world to have that many wings and to be able
here
to
you
sell them
go.
for
Don't get
35
started
cents.
with that. Here you
I'm
go
just,
again.
it's impossible. It's impossible.
Well, I don't think it's impossible when you look at the factory farming, but what I would say is that what they end up doing to these animals, it reduces them to being barely chickens in the first place. Like they're not. So to me, that's even worse than what I think you might be suggesting. Like when you look at some of those, I mean, that was one of the things that pushed me to veganism for real. Like I watched one of those like where activists break into the factory farms and film what's going on in there.
Oh wow. Yeah.
No, sir. I don't want no part of nothing coming out of there. So you know.
And I think KRS-One's Beef with a Relief song kind of really helped me to be like,
all of
nah,
that.
I'm good with the beef. Hip hop is a great thing, man. It really made you, start researching stuff.
Dougie Fresh had that line where he said something like, I say a fresh rhyme or a fresh beat. This what something about my body is a temple and I don't eat meat. Something like that. He something like that from
they was on
yeah, this is so like I remember, hip hop had a lot of that 5% Nation, some of that like that basic,
outside of the box, like instead, because a lot of us grew up on some baptism, Christian, this, that, and the third. But when I started hearing that, I was like, wait a minute. What, the black man is God? The black woman is God.
Only shake with your right hand, all of that, all of that, like I was all about that. I had my Africa medallions. I still got some of them. I had my red, black, and green medallions. It was, all of that. And so yeah, man, but I haven't heard one rhyme say don't drink your morning coffee. And I am hurt.
Big up to my hot flavored water.
Hot. So, but check this out. I'm glad we got a couple seconds here, ear doctor, because I talked a little bit on my show yesterday about it. But I want to ask you if you've seen Nas's new series on the Supreme Team. Have you heard about that? Have you watched any of that?
I watched some of it. I didn't watch the whole thing, but majority of the first joint that came out. Yeah. I mean, drug dealers life. I mean, that's what they did. They had to survive, as they would say. Even though one of them came from a well-to-do family, it's all about what he say. He pretty much, after some racism thing happened where he just changed his mind state about, yo, I gotta get this money. This shmoney.
There was something like that. Yeah, I forgot now that you mentioned it. There was some kind of shift like that.
Yeah, it was some type of racial thing that made him be like, yo, forget that. But drug dealing helped the black, it hurted and helped the black community in ways, right? Am I right about this? I mean, because
I don't think it balances out. I don't think it balances out.
It don't.
It helped a few people get the leg into the music industry for sure.
Yeah.
Although, I know he had to say it this way. I don't know if you've seen that far ahead, but now that you mention it, what's his name? Irv Gotti had to make it clear that that's what it was. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Shirley. Thank you. A cop killed a black boy in 73. Yeah. And then so some of that was interesting to me. Like I didn't talk about this yesterday, but well, just real quick, now I lost my thought. See, I don't have my coffee. I lost my thought. But what I didn't mention yesterday was that part of the theme of the series is that there was that young white cop who was killed by somebody who was an extended member of Supreme's outfit. Not under Supreme's orders, not involved with anything. In fact, that was breaking. Of course, that was the claim. They broke the rule because they weren't supposed to mess with police, but somebody apparently was trying to get the name up or whatever. At least that was the story.
Yeah.
And then that became how the narrative shifted into an excuse for Giuliani and a heavy crackdown, pun intended, on black communities by the police and all of that. But that's what I was going to say. Irv Gotti had to present his relationship with Supreme as having nothing to do with drug money helping his record label.
Business. Yeah.
So he had to make it. That's what I had at first, because he said when Supreme gave me $50,000. No, he said no. That was the other way around. He said when Irv Gotti paid Supreme $50,000, that was for a job. It wasn't for money laundering. And they could never show that Supreme ever gave money to Gotti, which would have been the cleaning part of the dirty part of the cleaning the money. So there was never any proof that Gotti got money from Supreme, and that's how he kept himself out of prison, facing a 20-year sentence.
I kind of wonder how it would have been if we didn't have but if blacks didn't have the opportunity to sell drugs and come up that way, because would it have been a whole lot more robbing, stealing, or would it have been figuring out some other way to make money? Because at that time, listen, the crackheads was out and people was trying to get money and they were trying to feed their families, and a lot of them was able to do that. I don't know about a lot.
But what I would, but I look at it the other way. I would look at it as drugs were an intentional imposition. They were an intentional disruption of black communities and politics. So I would think without the drug game, the state would have to have found another way to try to create that disruption. So, but that's really what I think it was, because the only reason it was allowed to do whatever it did, good or bad, was because the state was supporting it. So you can't, like the late John Judge used to say, you can't have organized crime without organized police. And anyway, because they even showed it in the series. As soon as they got mad at their cop getting killed, they shut it down.
That's the same thing with hip hop in a way. The whole NWA coming in like, listen, okay, now that y'all gonna start talking about killing gangs and this, that, and the third, we'll put some money behind. We'll make it pop, and it popped out. And hip hop has never been the same since. It's been
the same since.
It's got into the white communities, and they was like, we like it too. And man,
yeah. So, all right. So look, let's go ahead and get to your first break, and then I think we're going to have some of the sisters showing up in a few minutes. It looks like, and we'll get into some news after that here at the Remix Morning Show. I didn't even put water in my coffee cup. I was so mad I didn't even want to see it. So I can't even raise a glass. No mug today.
Man. Well, hey, you got the shirt on though, so
I got the shirt. I keep the shirt, but I was like, man, I'm not getting no mug. I can't even put my coffee in it, man.
Well, let's get to it right here. First break on the Remix Morning Show.
Took her home to mama. Listen.
Yeah. What's good, everybody? Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and y'all are tuned in to the dopest morning show on the planet, in the galaxy, and the universe. All right, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to hit that like and that subscribe button if we haven't already, and that notification bell so we can know all the dope things that's coming as soon as they're ready to pop on the screen. All right, also go to patreon.com, drop some change in the bucket because you know we love it. And we need a budget. So anyway, let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. Let's get to the weather. It is time for that weather report right here, right now. So let's start first off in Atlanta, Georgia. The A. That's right. They got a high today of 86 degrees. Next, let's take it to the place where Jared is not from Baltimore, Maryland. They got a high today of 90 degrees. Next, let's take it to the Chi. That's right, Chicago, Illinois. They got a high today of 86 degrees. Then let's take it to the West Side. That's right, Compton, California. They got a high today of 84 degrees. Next, we'll take it to Durban, South Africa. Durban has a high of 74. And then let's take it to Jamaica. Big up Jamaica, Kingston. They got a high today of 90 degrees. Now, that is kind of hot. But I tell you what is kind of hot, or who's kind of hot, and making the city hot. No other than Atlanta's prosecutor, DA Fannie T. Willis. She says that 2 more high-profile cases, RICO cases, are coming in the next 60 days. That's right. This is a sister that just threw YSL, young, what is his name? Young Thug and Gunner in jail. And now she says, listen, in 60 more days, we're going to have another 2 more RICO cases. They usually say bad boys move in silence, but this bad sister said, I am not. And she is putting them on warning. I don't know if it's I guess she's giving them a little like, yo, get y'all stuff together because we coming, yo. I don't know, but that's Fannie Willis. All right, now let's get back to the Remix Morning Show because you know how we do. All right, let's go. All right, let's get it.
Hey, what's
What?
up? Kim?
Who is that? Kim Brown?
Maybe. In theory, it could be. Good morning, pet people. Black
Morning.
people. How y'all feeling?
What did you say, pet people?
I don't know what I said, Ear Doctor. I'm listening to you guys talk about Ear Doctor, you with the weak coffee, with the hot water, the bean flavored water, and Jared not having no coffee. I too have been off coffee for several days, and I don't recommend it. I do not recommend it.
Several days.
It's bad. It's bad.
I'm on the countdown. I'm like, man, they got it, man. They better get this test together. And the thing that made it worse is that I had scheduled it for first thing in the morning. I'm not even supposed to be here at all. They rescheduled it last minute and pushed it back a couple hours. I was like, I did it early in the morning on purpose.
Right.
You got me sitting here. I gotta go till and then I gotta get plugged in. I gotta get on the treadmill.
Oh, you're doing the whole thing, the whole shebang,
Yeah.
the stressing testing.
I told you by the end of this summer, I'm burning up all my insurance points.
All right.
I'm whatever I'm entitled to this summer is getting used up. So I'm getting all the tests, everything. And so yeah, I got it. So they said 24 hours, no caffeine. That's 24 hours.
Yeah.
Man, y'all sounded like drug fiends over here, man. You might need this fast. You might need this fast right here.
I fast when I want to fast. I don't want to. Don't tell me you don't impose no fast on me.
That's how it works. That's how it works. It's like, yo, I need a little break. I ain't gonna front. What's the last time and longest you went without chiefing, Kim?
Oh man.
Wow, only when you sick, huh?
Yeah. Thank you.
That's the only time.
You should have to think that hard.
And I don't get sick that often.
Yeah, you should have to think.
I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna say maybe 2006. I think I stopped for a few months.
Damn. That's not bad though. You said months. You said months now. That ain't bad. 2006.
I'm sorry. I just heard that back in my head and how ridiculous that sounded. Like 2006, not long ago.
Whoa. Was cell phones around yet?
Yes, of course. Woo. Yeah.
But if we're talking about going months, I might have to go back before that.
Oh wow.
Taking months off?
Yeah, that's what when you said months, I was like, hold up, that ain't bad.
Yeah, for a few months. Yeah.
For me, it usually involves travel, like if I'm going to a certain place or, but I don't know. But it's not months anyway. More power to you.
Yo,
Where are
real
you
quick.
traveling where they don't have weed though?
Well, it's not about that. It's not that so much. It's about who I'm with, why I'm there, what the situation is.
Yo, real quick.
Like because I would be the one that would be on that family vacation somewhere, getting caught trying to get something in the, and the last thing I want is the children looking at me as I'm getting dragged off somewhere. So it's like, yeah, exactly, like for real, like that's a legit nightmare. So it's if I'm like, all right, I gotta just, all right, anyway, my bad, doctor. Go ahead.
Do y'all think that do you think that she's giving these guys, so the prosecutor, you think she's giving them some time to get it together before she brings the next RICO raid on them, or you think she just want to let everybody know that she's getting the job done?
Probably the latter. I mean, I don't think prosecutors concern themselves too much with giving defendants a heads up. You know what I'm saying?
But I mean, she put it out there like in the next 60 days, we're going to have 2 more RICO things. That's like, word. Why not just not say it and do it?
That just sounds more like she's either plans to have evidence that she doesn't quite have yet, or she just likes messing with people. Maybe it's just,
Well, you go, Fatty.
Ooh, you know her. You know them people that are potentially involved in that are going to have the worst 60 days. The next 60 days. Can you imagine? Like, you're not going to want to be on the phone. You're not going to want to talk to anybody. You're not going to want to cash app nobody. You're not going to do nothing.
Yeah, they smart. They wouldn't.
That's terrible.
Word. So that's the break for the day. I'll catch y'all next one. Peace.
All right. Well, let's slap that map and get into a couple things real quick here at the Remix Morning Show. I just want folks to know that
What's that?
I'm not the only petty one around here.
Who else is petty?
Well, I'm looking at the run sheet that Sister Erica put together.
Uh-oh.
And is that her popping on by any chance? I hope that is, because what she wrote in the run sheet. Good morning, Erica.
Hey.
Hi, how y'all doing?
See, I should have took my time. Erica looks all cute and I look terrible.
No, you don't.
Thank you. I'll see you all about 15 minutes. You go get my twist together. But no, good morning, sis. How are you feeling today?
I'm good. I'm so happy to see y'all.
We're happy to see you.
Right on. Likewise.
We are also always happy, Erica, when there are stories in the run sheet. Jared is appreciative most of all when there's stories in the run. And I say Jared because Jared checks the run sheet, because unfortunately I don't look at it. But like I'm aware of your contribution, and I am deeply, deeply grateful for what you do here. So thank you so much.
No problem. It was I was out of town this weekend, so it was late last night. I was like, I hope the professor not looking early.
No, but I said this is. Please, this is hilarious because it says the run sheet says Kevin Samuels, parentheses, the man who used his platform to fat shame women and tell them to work out, died from hypertension.
R.I.P.
So
rest in peace.
So I was like, yikes.
I'm sorry. Sometimes
I said that's funny. No, I mean, hey. I feel like he earned it. Kevin Samuels died from hypertension, according to TMZ, eliminating any possible suspicious circumstances surrounding the 57-year-old's death. The Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office just released findings into Samuels' death, telling us he died due to hypertension, high blood pressure. The ME says evidence of hypertension includes a heart whose chambers are thicker than normal. Hey, that's why I'm going to get my stress test.
Exactly.
That's where I'm headed this morning. I'm not playing around. I'm also not fat shaming and dissing women,
And
but I'm
chugging
not
Red
messing around with
Bulls.
the heart.
Apparently,
Yes.
Kevin had an affinity for Red Bulls, several.
Oh, really?
Yes, so that caffeine, I'm certain there's a difference in the caffeine dosage betwixt a cup of coffee or three and whatever's in a Red Bull. I don't drink Red Bull. I just assume it's liquid crack of some
Yeah.
form with flavoring, right? I mean,
Well, that's my initial thought, is that the biggest difference would be the sugar, even more than the caffeine. That sugar in those Red Bulls is likely, I love coffee, but admittedly, for the most part, I just drink it straight black. I don't put a whole bunch of stuff in it, so but anyway, and I am missing it right now. Good God, I was just thinking about it just now. That's terrible. I do like it too much. I think your doctor might have a point. Anyway,
You know what
but
I
the
hate
sugar.
though? And you didn't ask.
Yeah,
me.
go ahead.
Is
Go ahead.
coffee.
Yeah.
Ugh. I hate coffee. I hate walking by a Starbucks. I get so mad. The smell of it makes me ill.
well, Starbucks coffee smells ill. Starbucks coffee definitely smells ill.
Actually,
What? You like Starbucks, Jared?
I do. I don't support them currently for the the unionization efforts, but in terms of the smell and all that, I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it, and I mean, I guess I shouldn't either, since there's even despite their drawdown, there's still one every 2-3 feet. So. But yeah, Erica, that would be rough. That would be rough. Like not being able to enjoy the smell of that coffee maker first thing in the morning would be a problem. So
How were
don't
you
know.
able to avoid coffee, Erica? Like, I'm trying to think. Oh, I know how I got on coffee, because I had a stupid job schedule where I had to be at work and at an ungodly hour in the morning, so I had to start relying on. So it was going to be coffee or cocaine, one or the other. So we went with coffee because the job didn't pay that well. But how did you avoid the coffee there, Erica?
I think it has to do. My mom never drank coffee, so I think I didn't grow up in a coffee drinking family, and so I just, when I wake up, I normally work out. I haven't for a couple weeks, but and drink water, and so I don't. And I'm an early bird, so I don't really need help getting up. I'm up by 5 most days, so.
See, I'm up. I can be up. Now, ask me my level of cognition. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm talking about.
Ask me how well these synapses is firing and at what speed. That's where the coffee helps me. I can be awake and moving around and doing stuff, but I'm not performing. I'm not operating at the highest level of my brain capacity without coffee. So
for me, it was college. I didn't even in the military, I didn't drink much. Coffee, liquor, plenty. It was just water and liquor. It was like nothing in between. It was
flush it out.
But yeah. But anyway, so rest in peace, Kevin Samuels. Everybody get your heart checked, stay healthy, get off the Red Bulls, all that, and stop fat shaming and disrespecting women.
Mind your business. Worry about your health first. That's an excellent lesson to learn here from Mr. Samuels. To see you, if you mind your business and pay attention to your health instead of worried about what other people doing, you might be around for a few more years. So, and get off them Red Bulls.
TMZ should have been a little more petty and had like a big woman sipping coffee reading that headline as the picture for that story. That should have been the photo that went with the story. A big woman sipping her coffee, reading over Kevin Samuels. Anyway, that's messed up. My bad. Okay. Either of you got another story that you want to get to that is of interest or pressing to either of you?
I do, but I need a few minutes to find it. So give me
all right.
Onward with your selection.
Well, let's stay with Erica's provided theme, going back to our initial discussion of the charges possibly pending in Georgia. According to The Hill, rapper Kodak Black was arrested on drug charges in Florida. Not a fan. I'm not a fan of the character known as Kodak Black, but not thrilled that another person is going to prison. Rapper Kodak Black was arrested in South Florida on charges of trafficking in oxycodone and possession of a controlled substance. The rapper, whose legal name is Bill Capri, was booked Friday into jail in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where he awaits a bond hearing.
His legal name is Bill? Like Bill?
Yeah,
like
that's how it's written here.
Just Bill?
That's what everybody keyed in on, like, for real?
Like, that's his name?
Yeah.
How old is
Bill.
he again, Jared? Does it say?
Let's see. I don't think it said just yet. 31 tablets, 75,000 in cash. Man, that's it?
31 tablets? You get trafficking for that?
Well, here's the thing that struck me about this story is that it seemed like he got caught up in all of the standard things that they do to try to get people caught up, right? Like they detected a smell of marijuana, right? His window tint was darker than the legal limit.
Right.
So I don't know the man. I don't know Kodak Black. I don't know his music. I don't know how he is in the world, but
his tag and license were expired too.
Damn.
Yeah. This is all the stuff they use to get you caught up. So it seems to me that they want him for some other reasons, and maybe they're legitimate. I don't know, but the weed and the window tint and the tags. Come on now.
Where was it that I thought at least somewhere in the country laws had changed that said you could no longer do the "I smell marijuana in your car" thing?
Lots of places. Well, I won't say lots, but Maryland is one of those places.
Right.
Yeah, you like smelling marijuana is no longer. DC is also one of those places too. It's no longer probable cause for a search. But for one, 31 pills. That's like a month. Isn't that like a prescription? That sounds like a
and
month.
For Oxy though, but for people who certainly use it recreationally or are addicted to it, 31 is not a lot at all. It's not gonna make a month.
Right. I don't know, like Erica, like you said, it sounded like, they did all the little, higgy haga, as Kalicha Okafor says, the higgy haga to get him caught up. But okay, this is what makes me mad about people with means, though. Like, why are you riding on dirty tags? How come? Why are you not having the proper? Like, I understand this is all a pretext for pretextual stops, but Kodak Black got enough money. If he got 75,000 in his pocket, he got enough to make sure his registration is up to date. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just can't be out here riding dirty just cause, especially if you know the police are out here just trying to come for you. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't Kodak Black receive a pardon from Donald Trump at the end of his term? Wasn't it when?
Yeah, that was part of the story. Black? He had already gotten, he did. He did get a pardon earlier from Trump in 2020. And yeah, I feel a lot of the same way. Like, why would you? Yeah. Anyway,
yeah,
it would be helpful to at least have you have enough resources to have legal thises and that's to be, if you're going to be riding around with any amount of whatever, and you have a name like that, and you got you out there.
It definitely sounds as though this don't sound like something that's going to stick. You know what I'm saying? Like, this sounds like stuff that a well-paid attorney could very easily get him out of, because it sounds like some bullshit. But from what I understand, this young man has been credibly accused a number of times with like either rape or sexual assault. Now, if the police is going to look into some shit, why don't you look into that shit?
And very recently, I mean, he's been on video saying if a woman wants to get studio time or have track help with me or whatever, she got to perform sexually. And
really?
Of course, he's even before. Oh yeah, this was this calendar year. And before that, of course, he's been out there saying, dark-skinned women have no shot with me. I need light skin only. So I don't know anything about him. That is Bill. I don't know anything about Bill, or his music, but most of what I've heard is just negative.
But here's what you do know about Bill. You know that Bill gets a lot of collaborations. A lot of big artists do songs with him or allow him to come on their projects.
Including Kendrick's new album.
Isn't that funny? Funny how that works. People don't mind working with abusers. That's awesome for them. Good for them. Glad that they don't let their raping ways stop them.
But Kendrick has a kind of pro-trans song on his album, Kim.
That's good. Good for him. I'm glad there's always a space made for abusers and rapists. I love that. Love that. You don't love, you don't let the fact that you are still in Punani kind of person. You don't let that hold you back. Go for it. And the people enable them. They help them to make sure that they have a place in all of this and a voice and a platform. It's amazing. Love how that works.
Yes. And shout out to Comrade Kwame. You not if you ask, you shall receive, but certainly if you drop a few dollars, you shall receive. So, and this is a story I'm not familiar with. A 23-year-old black man shot while running away from San Bernardino police. This was reported just yesterday. CBS Los Angeles. I don't know if folks want us to play the video or not, but
it's a video of the incident.
I don't know, actually. Honestly, I don't know. I'm just pulling this up once I saw the super chat, so I have no idea. So let me at least just look here. San Bernardino police came under scrutiny Monday after security footage showing the events leading up to the fatal shooting of a 23-year-old black man surfaced on social media. I could understand if he was a threat to them, said Adams' mother, Tamika Davila King, but he was not a threat to them. He was running for his life. According to the San Bernardino Police Department, uniformed officers formed from a specialized unit were investigating complaints from neighbors about an illegal gambling facility on Saturday at about 8 p.m. Security camera footage showed two officers driving past the facility in an unmarked vehicle before stopping their car just a few yards from the parking lot where the gambling facility was located. Robert Adams, 23, could be seen talking to someone before walking in the direction of the officer's vehicle. As he approached the car, two officers jumped out with their guns drawn shortly before Adams began to run towards a nearby wall. The family claimed that the officers did not identify themselves as police. In a release, SBPD said the two officers were fully uniformed and tried to give Adams verbal commands before he began to run. Within 15 seconds of getting out of their car, officers shot Adams in the back as he ran between two parked cars. He later died at the hospital. They just hopped out with the gun and they didn't say anything, said Adams' best friend. Police said he was an armed felon and an unlicensed security guard for the facility. They later recovered a loaded Taurus G3C at the scene and said Adams was carrying the gun while running away. The boy ran, said the victim's stepfather, Audwin King. The officer hunted him down like a dog. If Adams had some life in him, the officer probably would have finished the clip. So when do we have justice for that? Tamika said she was on the phone with her son a few moments before the shooting, before the line suddenly cut out. It let me know that's why the phone hung up, because they were killing my son, she said. The family confirmed that Adams was working as a security guard for the gambling business and disputed the claim that the 23-year-old had a gun. In a press release, police included a still image that appears to show Adams with a handgun. But I'm still not clear how having a handgun as you're running away equates to pointing a gun at police and being worthy of being shot. Anyway,
just being armed, like Jared, because Black people do not have constitutional Second Amendment rights. The fact that Black people are armed is justification for them to be murdered. You niggas can't have guns. Not allowed.
I forgot that part. It's just that I'm reading this as an attempt to excuse the fact that they did this because he had a gun. I mean, it's claiming he did. Anyway, so the police are asking the community to hold their judgment until a proper investigation is done. So thanks for the heads up, Kwame.
Their judgment, Kwame. But let us do that.
No, this seems like this is going to be a worser year than previous years, and all the years have been bad. But for police killings, I worry what these what these ongoing numbers are going to look like, because it seems as though they are shooting people more, I mean, and not to say that they ever stop to slow down ever, but it seems to be an everyday sort of occurrence. There was a police shooting of a person at the wharf in DC Saturday, where they said that the person, the young boy, maybe he was 20, early 20s, they said he was holding a gun. They said that they gave him commands to drop it. He didn't drop it, and they shot and killed him, or they shot him and then he died later at the hospital. from his injuries, but there's witnesses disputing that, and these were off-duty cops. But it seems as though the police are on an amazing pace. Like they are shooting people all the time.
Yeah,
everywhere.
So Kim, I just saw this article from, or maybe it wasn't even an article, just a blurb from the AP in their style guide. And they were talking about the use of the term officer involved shooting, and how their new recommendation is that journalists should follow up with questions about how was the officer involved? Like what happened? Say that instead of saying officer involved shooting. Have you heard anything about that or seen sort of trends in this world of journalism for people actually trying to highlight what the cops are doing in the street?
So I've seen those AP suggestions, and I think the Associated Press has done, I think, the industry a service by making these recommendations and challenging journalists who, at least if they work in shops that adhere to the AP style guide, it's like, hey, consider reporting it like this. I have not seen en masse, like especially local journalism. I have not seen a change to that at all, because the way that Fox 5 DC, and I know everybody's going to be like, well, it was a Fox station, what do you expect? It don't matter. Like the standard here in like everybody sort of does news the same way. So, but this morning I was watching Fox 5 DC, and they reported it exactly like the police said it. This shooting that happened over the weekend, they said off-duty police gave commands, the suspect refused the command, police shot him. Per everything the cops said, right? They didn't ask anybody else. Did anybody else see anything? I'm telling you, it had to been 100, 200 people down there. It was a crowded place on a Saturday night in DC. I'm sure there were a lot of witnesses, but journalists are very lazy and they are very loath to challenge what are quote unquote official sources. And that's how journalists are trained to go with the official source. If you can't get an official source, police, another sort of official agency, as the ultimate confirming source, like that's just not how it's done. And it plays out in really negative ways, especially in places like DC. Well, I'm gonna say Baltimore. I see it really happen a lot more in Baltimore, where local residents' takes on things are generally disregarded. Like there can be something, especially if it involves cops and murdering people. Very seldom do they ask the people who were perhaps on the scene or who live in the area what they saw and what they have heard. It has to come directly from the police. If it don't come from the police, it don't count. So no, to answer your question, Erica, I have not seen journalism embrace this new suggested method of how to frame when police shoot and kill people. That's how it needs to be framed that way. Like there's not an officer involved shooting. Police killed somebody, period. There's no, the only reason they saw shoot it is to, soften the image of the cops in the minds of the public.
And my favorite is that the cops are the perpetrators a lot of times, and they're the official source. So how y'all get to be the perpetrator and the official source?
Right.
The same way you have military spokespeople on the news talking about whether or not we should be going to war.
And how they have started coups. Not here, but in other parts of the world.
Because they're geniuses, Erica. Yes. They're geniuses.
No, there was the folks in Latin America was mad about them John Bolton comments. I'll be better prepared tomorrow to see if I can pull up something specific, but they was like, nah, charge him with war crimes, get him out of, like, he on TV admitting to starting coups in other countries. Nope, that sounds like punishable with punishment. Listen.
But to the point, that's the point in that very clip. You and Kim, this was what you brought up on during that moment. Jake Tapper doesn't do the genius journalistic thing of following up with, well, what coups, John? What? How? Explain detail for us the genius involved in overthrowing other people's democratically elected leadership. But that's the I remember vividly being in the grad school, the journalism program at Maryland, and this was a huge fight among practicing journalists and those like myself who were more interested in critique. And they are hard on that. You got to have official sources, and official sources are established institutions, and we have to be a professional and objective and balanced. I mean, it was a which, by the way, I think is fascinating that the anyway, that's another thing. But anyway, so yeah, people are trained to not go beyond those boundaries, or to seek out those sources to complement or give credence and substance to their stories, which of course narrows the vision of the story and delegitimizes anybody else's voice that might happen to be included, if included at all. So it's very skillful, slick.
And everybody, everybody who's watching, I assume you all know this because y'all are smart as hell out here. But like police say, authorities say, officials say, if you have a reporter or anchor that if they're, when describing an incident involving, again, police brutality, violence, police murder, and that's all the fuck they say, like, I need you to be tweeting people angrily, please ask them to kindly diversify your sources here. Like, y'all are just police stenographers, y'all are really just public relations for the police. Whatever the police say, that's what you say, that's what you repeat word for word, verbatim, as though the thing transpired exactly like the police said it did. Like, you need to be challenging as the public viewers, as consumers of news. You need to be challenging these people when they do this. I was deliberate in my show on Friday to frame it, to call my show Baltimore Squeegee Kids self-defense shooting, against a white attacker, because all the other media are framing it as the squeegee kid murder or the squeegee kid killed somebody. No, this child was practicing self-defense and had every right to shoot this motherfucker who was trying to attack him with a bat. So so on my little program, I try to go against that shit, that mainstream shit that's out there. I'm sorry, y'all can tell I have not had coffee. I can't get my thoughts together, but
no, yeah. I love that. In fact, go ahead. Sorry, Erica, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, Kim, I saw your show on Friday and it was so great. And thank you for sharing the squeegee kids with somebody like me. Even though I used to live in Maryland a million years ago, I didn't spend a lot of time in downtown Baltimore, so I didn't know about them. And thank you. It was great from top to bottom.
I try to give them money when I can without them washing the window. I don't want them putting that dirty, nasty shit on my car. Just take a few dollars and keep it moving. Right. But I love how the society, I love the racism is so beautiful here, because you can woefully oppress these children. I mean, anybody, if you're not familiar, just take 5 minutes and go through your local hood in your local city and look at how people are living. And then you can have them be forced in a situation where, to make legit money, they're on a corner all damn day with the squeegee bottles, running in and out of traffic. And then they can, as we saw, what was it, just last year, or was it maybe little longer than that, when they were blamed for somebody killing their wife in his own car, and then he blamed it on a squeegee kid running up on him. Remember that?
That's right. Oh, like, my God.
We can like all of that, and then if we get mad enough, we just get out the car with a bat and hope that they don't have any intent on defending themselves. Like, it's crazy out here. I mean, this is crazy. So anyway,
and shout out to my guests who were my guests on Friday, Easy Jackson, Lisa Snowden, and Stephen Janis. All three of my guests raised excellent points. First of all, pun not intended, the squeegee kids are killing it out here on the corner. Like, they are getting that money. Like, they are making good money every day. Seriously. And the fact that the city and the visitors to the city and the bourgeoisie class of the city, people who look down on the squeegee kids, want them off the corners. Are you going to match their income? Are you going to open up your wallet? Stephen Janis talked about how the CEO of T. Rowe Price, which has a big office in downtown Baltimore, he was adamant that the kids need to get off the corner. Nigga, you gonna open up your fucking wallet and break these kids off with enough dough to match and or exceed the income that they are currently bringing in for themselves? You want to push capitalism on these kids? These kids is mopping capitalism ass right now, and they mad about it.
Brandon said he understood why the squeegee kids were doing it, but he just doesn't think they should have it. They shouldn't do it. That's what Brandon said.
Brandon needs to oh my God. I cannot. Every single mayor of Baltimore is determined to be a fucking clown, and I don't understand. I don't get it. I fail to understand it.
Since you mentioned Stephen Janis, people should remember, like, when you go back and watch Kim's interview with Stephen Janis, just put, I don't know if it came up in your discussion this time, but I always remember that he is the reason behind Jay-Z's Hard Knock Life track.
I didn't know you knew that, Jared.
Yeah, man. Steven and Taya, like because that was Easy and Lisa, that like they're the newer, from my perspective, Real News affiliates crew, right? So like Steven and Taya were there when I was there, and we did a whole segment on my show about him doing Hard Knock Life. When he told me that story off the record, I was like, son, because he doesn't present as somebody who would have been involved with hip hop or hanging around with.
You gonna tell the story for the people like me who don't know it?
So Stephen Janis is a kind of like a legendary reporter in Baltimore. He's got a big time reporting career in Baltimore, works with the Real News Network, but he has a previous life in the music biz. And he ended up, his little production company ended up owning the beat that 45 King made that became Hard Knock Life for Jay-Z. So when he told that story, and when you see Stephen Janis, again, he doesn't present even like a Vlad or some kind of white boy that would be hanging out in hip hop. He's like a really regular, like cool white dude, just very regular white guy. And I just always think it's funny when his name comes up, and I think like him, 45 King, Jay-Z, that any track. I mean, it's just, it's classic. This is great. So anyway, that's it.
Don't forget, Stephen Janis is also down with DJ Kool, and I can't remember.
That's right.
In what capacity he and Kool worked together. I don't remember, but I know.
Let Me Clear My Throat, and Janis talks about. My bad. He talks about being in Philly where they filmed the video for Let Me Clear My Throat. Like I was like, are you serious? So like DC go to, classic hip hop. I mean, anyway, it's fascinating. It's a fascinating. Anyway, so in addition to that, I know he had a lot of good things to say about more serious issues, but I just always can't help but.
No, but one other thing that we talked about briefly on my show Friday, we talked about, the harsh media coverage and how, the squeegee kids are being framed and criminalized by Baltimore mainstream media. And we played a clip from Fox 45. And Ed Norris was on the show. And Ed Norris is a former Baltimore police commissioner who himself got caught up in a number of charges and even did some Fed time. But it doesn't stop Ed Norris from having a radio show on a mainstream radio station in Baltimore. And he gets called regularly as a credible, as an authoritative figure on Fox 45 to give his opinions. Meanwhile, whole ass criminal is his damn self, dirty cop, crooked cop, and he was in David Simon's The Wire. Isn't that funny? Isn't that nice how that works out for the white folks when they get in trouble, they go to jail and their reputation's in tatters. Other white folks will make sure to hold them up. We're not gonna let you go down, Ed. Come get an acting credit on HBO on The Wire. Here we go.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's
a beautiful thing.
Love that for them.
Failing upwards for white folks. Congratulations. Well done.
Awesome.
But speaking of moving on up without failing, we got the ear doctor coming back, and we're gonna switch out. Or maybe not. Is he frozen?
I know.
Oh no, I was
Oh
trying
my
to say
goodness.
we're going to switch us out for a slightly darker bald brother as I dip out to go to my, I figured we would trade out here as I go to my appointment. I'll leave you all with and check you out from the waiting room. But what's up here, doctor? Are you able to continue, or are you?
I mean, it looked like I'm frozen. You can hear me though, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we
you
hear you.
coming through clearly.
Okay.
Okay, good.
And you know the funny thing with the squeegee boys is down here we got the water boys. So
Uh-huh.
all the water boys are out here on the corner. Kids is getting ran over, but these kids is coming like old school drug dealers to your car. As soon as like one person say yeah, they just run up to your car and be like, yo, 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 yo. It's wild. You get shot like that. They better chill. But it's definitely some money to get.
Who
It's money to get out there.
gonna shoot kids trying to sell water, ear doctor? Stop that.
Yo, you don't ever know what these kids running up with other intentions. Come on, man.
Ear doctor, they
You ain't been
selling
in the hood
water.
in a minute.
They selling
I
water.
remember my age. I remember how we got down. You ain't been in the hood in a minute. We ain't had the opportunity to run up to people's cars and see what they got. Oh, that's a purse on the seat.
Is that the new hustle? Load up with a whole bunch of bottles of water and run up on somebody's car to rob them?
Hey.
Is that how it works? Is that the 2020s game? Okay, all right. It would work, because if you run up on me with a whole bunch of bottles of water in a hot day, you likely to get me. You're more likely to trick me than not.
Mm-hmm.
So congratulations, but my assumption is they probably just trying to make a few dollars selling water.
No doubt. And I'm glad they out there hustling, man. I was selling firecrackers at their age, so get your hustle on, and candy. All right, so let's take it to a quick break. Ball, sorry to see you leaving, but
have a good
See y'all
appointment
tomorrow.
though, Jared. Bona suerte. Good luck.
Bone sweat.
We know you're gonna tell us all about it when you get back.
Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. I have the full report for everybody tomorrow. And don't wait. I've requested a picture of my brain scan from my CT scan, so hopefully I have some visuals to show as well.
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
I'm gonna pull out my colonoscopy pictures and show you up.
Can your ego fit on the screen?
That's up here, doctor.
This is Jared's brain on drugs from the 80s.
Exactly. And they look
From
the
that
same.
one time when he did.
Have a good visit.
All right, good people. Likewise.
No
Take
doubt.
care, everybody. See
Bring
you
back a
tomorrow.
lollipop or something.
No.
Ready on the right. Ready on the right. Ready on the right.
What's good, everybody? What's good, everybody? I know we got a little freeze going on here, but anyway, let me get to what I wanted to talk about. Let's do an artist spotlight real quick. Who am I going to talk about today? No other than Positive K. That's right. You hear it in the background. Positive K. Positive K, also known as Daryl Gibson. That's right. Born straight out of the Bronx, New York. He originally came out back in 1992 when he came out with his hit, I Got a Man, a duet he did with MC Lyte, and also I'm Not Having It. One of the first real dope back and forth songs that came out with a sister and brother doing it. Not sister and brother, but you know how we are. We sisters and brothers anyway. But so he pretty much came back in back in the early 70s. He got down with DJs Grandmaster Flash and Busy B, and they was down there throwing block parties. And one day the Fearless Four asked him to rap. So he got on the microphone and he did a little rhyme. Later on, he became a member of the 5% Nation. And his name was Positive Knowledge Allah. That's right. And he got down with other people that was somewhat like Grand Poobah and other people. But he was doing a compilation album with Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock. And that did a little something, got him out there more. So he signed to Sonny Carson's son, First Priority Music, who was Professor X, the overseer. He had his record label, got him down, and like I said, he got down with Daddy-O from Stetsasonic, and after that, he made it, did it big, started doing, like I said, the song MC Lyte, I'm Not Having It, and he's been on tour. He's been out there opening up for Big Daddy Kane when he first came out, doing freestyles with Jay-Z and Sauce Money. So this brother came out and did his thing for a while. You can also see him. He was in Bronx Tale. He did a little acting also. So big up to Positive K. If you ain't heard about him, here he is. He got 3 albums, one called Skills That Pay the Bills, Back to the Old School, and Great Minds, which he did an album with Greg Nice from Nice and Smooth. So that is no other than the one them call Positive K. All right. So that's your artist spotlight for the day. Let's get back to the morning show.
Ready on the right. Ready on the right. Ready on the right.
Excuse me, miss. No, I'm not having it. Excuse me, miss. Oh, that's right. That was
I'm not having it.
That was
Excuse me.
And then it was I Got a Man, and that was a whole different record. Yes,
he was the first male side piece song. That was the first male side piece song.
I Got a Man is a side piece song.
He's like, yo, you got a man, but what that man got to do with me? I'm still trying to be on your side. You know what I'm saying? That was the male side piece song.
That's regular dirty macking from dudes. I don't know about side piece.
You're trying to say keep your man, you know what I'm saying? But just keep me on the side.
All righty. Positive K. Shout out to he had another song too. I can't remember what it was, but
did he? I mean, he had
I mean, that was a two solids, you know, two in the possible, you know what I'm saying?
And the song he had with Grand Poobah that I was playing in the background. That was another one that was pretty dope. But Positive, he's still out here performing and doing his thing, dropping new music here and there. So yeah, Positive K, y'all.
Positive K, y'all. Good for him. Well, thank you, Ear Doctor.
No doubt, ladies.
It was a nice one. And I always appreciate that Kim can share information because I don't know half the time who y'all talking about. But thank both of y'all.
We need you to be sending, old school Texas shit to Ear Doctors. Like we need to be here about some DJ
Screw.
Oh, you know about DJ Screw. All right,
I'm a bunch of other ones out there too. Who was one other youngin'? Lil Kiki. Who else was down there?
I can't tell you, Kim. That's what the Ghetto Boys and DJ
Ghetto
Screw.
Boys.
That's
it.
And then
who else did wanna be a baller? Shot caller, 20th Blaze on the Impala. Cowhood night, switch and roll Tigers, ice.
That's Midwest though.
Making money.
I don't know who that is,
better way. UGK.
Oh, that's the Underground Kings.
UGK.
Okay.
Nah, hold up. That's Midwest right there. I think that's Do or Die you were singing.
No, that's little Troy. Come on, Texas. Pookie Wood in here. Pookie Wood know what it is.
Okay. Let me go do my research.
But Do or Die, that's Chicago. That's Do You Wanna Ride?
Yeah, you're right. Nice. Look, listen, Kim, we got to get our hip hop show together, man. We got to get our hip hop show together. For real.
Technology, but logically, be learning these hoes biology. I'm sorry. That's my error.
She was in the club just right then and there. She was in the club with a drink in her hand, singing that in the middle of the dance floor. I see you.
Yeah. Well, you got to bring the Dirty South. You got.
Girl, I can't. I'm not a music head. Not hip hop, not R&B, not country, none of it.
R&B.
Hey, let it be known, one of the original Ghetto Boys members is from Trenton, New Jersey. The DJ. I'm just saying. Throw that out. Just throw it out.
I did not know that.
Yeah, represent. All right. Well, I'll be in the back. If y'all need me, just let me know.
All righty. Thank you, Ear Doctor.
Yes,
y'all, it's the Remix Morning Show. We appreciate everybody rocking with us this morning on Black Power Media. If you haven't already liked the show, please give us a thumbs up. Out here. It is the Brown sisters. Look at us.
Yes.
Erica and Kim holding it down.
Yes. And with my daddy's actions in the past, who knows?
Girl. We don't even, Texas and Little Rock is not that far apart.
Where's 23 and me when you need them?
Girl, it could be either one of our daddies could be the other's daddies, which is hilarious. But I'm so glad that you are here. We appreciate, seriously, Erica, all that you do behind the scenes to help us keep this little train a chugging. So thank you.
No problem.
Go ahead.
Can you hold us up today, Kim, with the actual pulling the stuff up? Because you know my internet is spotty. I can't.
That's a maybe. That is a
Okay.
possibility. Let's
Okay.
see how this works, because I that was not my the skill in the area in which I was gifted in. But I
Look,
do have some I thought I did find a couple of stories. Now the thing is, now I do not have the run sheet pulled up, so if Ear Doctor is hovering around in the background, maybe he could pop up a story for us. But I might be able to pull
I
something
can
up
throw some
there.
things into the chat. Maybe you can get to them that way. What can I? I think I can.
Now, everybody who is in the chat is probably laughing like shit right now, because they know, they know, they know that this ain't the area in which I shine, in which I excel. I'm the talker. I'm not the button pusher, kids. This is not necessarily what I do.
Kim, the one he just dropped is a good one. We can talk about that one. I'd be happy to.
Oh,
And
let
I'm
me
gonna put
see
another one
here.
out there. We can't be out here looking bad, having the men folks doing better than us. So we gotta.
Oh, girl, I ain't worried about them men folks. You know that. Listen, them niggas could never. They could never. I don't care if they know how to push all the buttons. They still can never. But I mean, that's just nature, baby. I don't have nothing to do with that. But like, let's see here. Now, how the fuck? Okay, so we just pulled it up. Okay, Lord have mercy. How do I share this? I always forget. Not because I have not done this in so long. I don't do this
To the
at all.
left of the lead studio, there's a share on the
Ah,
bottom.
oh, that's right. That's right. And then I have to share my thing. Okay.
Yeah.
My bad, people. Them. My bad. My bad.
But
Now,
Kim,
if I knew I had to do this,
while
then
you pulling that
then
up, I can.
I totally would have drank some coffee this morning. That coffee would have been had. Okay, share screen.
The
Share it.
chat says that they are in fact laughing at us.
I know they
You
are.
know what? Y'all ain't loyal. Y'all ain't loyal at all.
I am aware. Are things on the
Yep,
screen?
yep, we
Oh,
got
that's
you.
awesome. That's beautiful.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go to the kingdom. Is that it?
Yeah. And so one of my favorite things about this article, without even reading it, is that one of the people who tweeted it was Donna Brazil.
Miss Donna, what's Miss Donna talking about here? What's to say here? Opinions, progressive are practically doing Republicans' job for them. Written by Paul Begalia. God
Yes.
damn it. Erica, you done brought the opinion of a white man, unapproved white man, onto the timeline. And this white man is
Yes.
unapproved. Okay, so what was Paul, what's Mr. Paul talking about?
Well, I mean, essentially, the gist is, you know, we need to be uniting. Why can't we talk about all the great things that are happening? But we're trying to, you know, the progressives out here saying he hadn't done anything. And y'all should just stop it and let the Republicans do that. Why we got to fight amongst ourselves?
I don't know who ourselves are, because to me, the Democrats have been moving like Republicans for quite some time, for quite some
Look,
time.
and then he starts off by talking about, well, Joe Biden didn't overturn Roe, did he? Lord.
He was the president. He was the president, and he was part of the previous administration, whom could have made some movement on the court, replacing court with so-called "quote unquote" liberal justices before Republican rule took over. So, I mean, of all people, Paul Begalia needs to save his defense of Joe Biden. Like, Joe Biden is the least sympathetic character in all of this, because he's been there for 50 years. Like, he has been there
Literally.
the entire time in some capacity, causing fuckery. It's not like Joe Biden has been on the righteous side of progressivism at all, or on any issue, least of all abortion and the climate change. That's my big thing. That's one of my big things. But I'm reading this, and what is he talking about? He's talking about Greg Abbott. He's talking about Ron DeSantis, and all them are banning books, and they're causing these anti-transgender gays laws, and basically saying that that girl, I don't know what he's saying. I'm
The
so
whole
sorry,
point is that it just made me cackle a little bit when I thought about, you know, Auntie Donna posting this story, and I'm like, Auntie Donna, you part of the reason why we can't get any progressive stuff done, because you over here giving questions to Hillary and such. Like, y'all just sit down and let people try to actually lobby for things that people need, instead of trying to make us think that the Republicans are the only enemy we have.
But you're never going to hear that on CNN. Like
No.
there's no space for that on CNN. It's simply Republican and Democrat, and CNN doesn't care that truthfully that the Democrats are more on the right than CNN wants to admit. There is no left. There is no political left in this country, at least not any that's being represented on mainstream news platforms, nor that are representing us in the halls of power. So, and I mean, I think that these sort of arguments are just emblematic of that. I think what wasn't it Biden who recently or was it who was it? It was Joe Biden, Jill Biden, or maybe the press secretary. I don't know. Somebody had some smoke for, reproductive justice activists and saying, basically, characterizing them in a negative way, saying that, it's because of them that this fight is probably going to get more difficult, and people need to get out and vote. And it's like, wow, like y'all are really failing to read the room here. Like where does the suggestion or the proposals from from the Biden administration about how to get women who need abortions right now, how to get them access to that health care?
And you say women, Kim, like they want the 10-year-old to vote. How's she supposed to vote to be able to get the abortion that she needs?
They want the 10-year-old to vote. Oh my God. No, I don't know what this this midterm is going to look like. I'm imagining that the Republicans are at least going to regain control of at least one chamber of Congress. I don't know if it's going to be the House and the Senate. I hope it's not both. It could possibly be both. But even if it was both, I mean, they basically got a Republican in the fucking White House. So, I mean, if Republicans capture Congress, I mean, what's really going to change? Like, what has this democratically controlled Congress been able to advance? Like, Build Back Better is getting stripped back at every pass here. Oops, did that thing go away? Sorry, did an ad pop up? Let me get rid of this. Okay. No, the Biden administration is going to if we're fortunate, he will be a one-term president. I do not look forward to Republican rule at all.
He said he wants to run again. Like, even stop there. How is he going to run again?
He should not do that. He's going to be he's already a diminished elderly person, you know what I'm saying? And that's not a diss to elderly people, because not all elderly people are as diminished as Joe Biden very clearly is right now. So I don't think Joe Biden running again, I don't even know if he'd survive it. I don't know what the hell they got Joe Biden propped up on right now. Like
falling off his bike and stuff. Y'all need to stop.
Right. So I don't know. I want to ask you, and not to change too much questions here or change topics. I told you I have had no coffee, so my brain, we ain't on the day. We about on four. We sipping on foes, whatever. But in terms of the shit that's coming out of Uvalde, Erica, like the most recent news that I saw was the report that said that there were just shy of 400 officers at Robb Elementary within minutes after the shooting began. And I'm trying to figure out how you have 400 cops, 400, I think the number is 376, but 400 police afraid to go in and kill one person. One person, because I look at them odds, it's not all that different from the Mega Millions odds we got going on tonight. If y'all go by the Mega Millions, it's 300 million to 1. Okay, so scale that way down. So 300 to 1. It seems that 300 could very easily overpower that 1. That 376 could overpower that 1. And from some of the testimony coming from the survivors of the massacre at Robb Elementary, including I saw an interview from a teacher who survived. He said that there was at least one student, and he said there was probably several others, that if this student had been gotten emergency care, the child suffered a gunshot wound to the stomach. And basically the reason the child died is because they lost too much blood. They bled out. But had the child been rescued, been able to be saved, been able to have treatment within a timely fashion, the child probably would have survived. And we would not have lost 19 children and 2 teachers. But for the cowardice and the I don't know what else to say. Like they're calling it a lack of leadership. They're saying they didn't know who was in charge. They didn't know what to do. The fuck y'all spend all this money training for, man?
And a
What are
lot of
you
stuff
hearing?
you don't have to wait for somebody to tell you to go help other people. Like, when did that start being a thing? Folks help people on the street all around the world every day. Like, you don't have to have a uniform, a training plan to help somebody.
Apparently you do. Apparently you do. The screams of children are not enough for you to run in there and try to end the situation. Um, but it just goes to show you again how, for one, legally, these police are not obligated to put their lives on the
Nope.
line to save anybody, despite the mythology and the fairy tales that we are basically programmed, brainwashed to believe since we are children, right? We believe, we are told that cops are there to help us, to save us. And what happened in Uvalde, and obviously lots of other times, instances previous to that, but this being the most recent and horrific, just is a clear case of that. And I'm worried that I feel bad for the parents, because I think that they have expectations that there's going to be accountability here,
Oh no.
and I don't think there's going to be no accountability here. I don't think nobody's going to jail. I think, a couple people will go and get slaps on the wrists. The DOJ might investigate and be like, yep, they did not adhere to protocol. They could have done X, Y, and Z better, but nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to happen.
No, I don't think anything's going to happen. And I actually haven't had a chance to read the report yet, since it just came out, and I was away this weekend. But I have been, since this all started, the Texas Tribune is where I've been going to get a lot of information about what's happening down there and on the ground. And it just, every story, every day, it just gets worse. And honestly, I got to a point where I just couldn't even consume anymore. And so now I think I'm coming out of that. And so
Mm.
I will take a look at the report, but nothing's going to happen. Of course, there will be so many lawsuits. I do wonder how the lawsuits are going to sort of tax the local community in terms
Mm.
of all the people in the community are going to have a lawsuit, and they don't have a lot of money as a community,
Mhm.
and how all of that is going to work. So it's just heartbreaking.
What's Abbott been saying? Yeah,
Well,
girl.
he didn't show up at the funeral. He did not. He did not go
Oh
to
no.
see any of those people laid to rest. So he had nothing to say about
Oh,
that.
wow. Wow. I didn't know that.
Yep. So
Woo.
I don't have nice things to say about Abby. Let me be quiet, because I'm gonna say something on the YouTube that I can't take back.
And what he gonna do? What he gonna do? But hold on, Eric. I mean, hold on. Speaking of Abbott, because you're in Texas right now, and many parts of the country are experiencing record high temperatures.
Girl.
and and Texas, for the past couple of years, y'all done had some problems with that power grid, girl. What is happening?
Okay, so it's not funny, but you have to laugh to
No,
keep
not
from
that.
crying.
Right.
But we have had for the past 2 weeks, of course, several days over 100 is not anything unusual, but we've
Mhm.
gotten to like 108, 107. Today, I think it's probably going to be in that neighborhood. Extremely hot temperatures. And so maybe about 3 or 4 weeks ago, everybody was like, okay, y'all, it's going to be hot. We don't want to overtax things, because then we're going to have blackouts. So, don't really run your air that much. It's 108. What I'm going to do,
Don't
right?
run your air that much.
Right,
What?
you want me to go outside? Like, you can't go outside
Right.
and then you stay inside, and they say don't run your air that much because you're going to overtax the system. Okay. So there's that happening. And then after what happened, with the freeze and everything, now the energy
Mhm.
providers have really driven the price up literally this month. And I'm in a very good situation because I have some insulation that helps in my home that keeps the costs low for my electricity. Usually we've never had a bill more than $300. And I think, my husband said it was like $600 this month. But some of my neighbors who don't have the same installation, $1,000, $1,500 electricity bills,
That's
right?
your
Because
rent. That's a mortgage payment.
you know because the companies like jacks up the prices now. I don't know the inner workings of, or the silly explanations of why they're going to give us for these price increases, but yeah, it's not good.
But it's arbitrary because I mean Texas is independent of the national grid system.
Yes.
Is that right? So
Yes.
Texas has
Yes.
its own grid. So Texas says we can kind of do what we want down here and nobody can really say anything to us. But you talk about the freeze. Now, was that this past winter, Erica? I can't remember. Was that 2021 or 2020?
Lord, what is time? It was 2021.
All right. So what is time? It was
Yeah,
when
it was 2021.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh. So everybody who may not remember, like Texas had a terrible ice storm. Tens of people died, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't like 100 or so people die?
I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know the numbers for
I think
that, but
who did it? It might have been ProPublica. Even I can safely say tens.
I wouldn't be
In the
surprised.
tens. I don't know if it was hundreds, but I know it was safely tens of people who definitely died of either freezing to death, hypothermia, or people who died as a result of running their generators. Maybe, they died of carbon monoxide poisoning, had their generators or something else going on inside the house. But it was really bad. But this is really highlighting, number one, like how vulnerable our power systems are, and how fucked up capitalism is that you actually have to pay a mortgage payment in order to not die of heat stroke in July in Texas. Is Abbott even offering any sort of rebates or like subsidies?
Who?
Like he's got to be saying something
Who?
now.
Who? I told you.
Gregory.
No, no, no. I know. Greg. He ain't said nothing that I've heard about. This Texas, you think that? No, ma'am. We don't do subsidies. We don't do help. That's not.
We
That's
don't
not
do
what.
help. Lord have mercy.
That's not. That's not how they live out here. So no, you can't expect any help from your government. We're one of the states that when the federal government says take the money, we like, we don't want y'all's dirty money. So no, ma'am. And the thing about it is that he's up for reelection, and you would think that this would be something that the Dems could actually run on, and his opponent is trying to. You would think that people would see, I don't know, chaos around the state, right? An ongoing pandemic, global warming, high electricity, gas bills, all of this, and want to maybe change out the guard, but probably not.
So you're saying that the Democrats are not putting a lot of support. Is it Beto? Beto's
Yes,
the guy?
yes.
Beto. Why Beto? What's Beto? I don't even know where he get Beto from.
Beto is a white man, but Beto said, he had some people they used to call, I think the story is they used to call him Beto, some people he knew back in the day.
But isn't his name like Robert or William?
It's a white name, but he goes by Beto in the same way that Raphael goes by Ted.
Stop! So, I'm so tired of people. Not you, Darius, but I'm just tired of people. Like,
yeah.
All right, Beto. Beto. So okay, so the Democrats are not really helping Beto out. Beto down there by himself.
Yeah, look, I'll give Beto credit. This man goes from city to city. He's the hardest working man in politics. He has town halls with all the people, but I'm like, baby, they're not gonna vote for you. But it's a good effort. He puts in a good effort.
Oh, well, that's cute. Well,
yeah,
we're good for Beto.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you about how Greg Abbott's policies are having some effect here in the DC area. So finally, after at least several weeks, if not months, of Greg Abbott sending migrants who come across the Texas border on buses from Texas up to DC, the local DC media has finally picked these stories up and realize that this is an issue that deserves our attention. So there is a local mutual aid group called Sanctuary DMV. I think that's their Twitter handle. And what they've been doing is, first of all, there have been busloads and busloads of migrants from really all across the global south of the Western Hemisphere, coming from the Caribbean, coming from South America, Central America, coming across the Texas border. Greg Abbott is saying, well, that's not my problem. This need to be Joe Biden's problem. So he put them on buses and they come up here to Union Station, which, by the way, people are like, cool, come on up. Like this is a good place for immigrants in the DMV area. But the problem is it has been the good Samaritans, basically local citizens who have been coming out to meet these people as they are getting off the bus at Union Station to help them out, because literally they're coming off the buses with nothing. They're coming off the buses with literally only the possessions that they have. And then once they arrive in DC, some of them have made arrangements to go other cities, and they're, you know, taking buses other places, and some of them are now forced on the streets here in Washington and forced into shelters, which the shelter system in DC is not so great. So the mutual aid groups have been trying to help out, but because of the surge of COVID that we are currently in, that the media doesn't seem to think is a big fucking deal, that no, we are definitely in a sixth surge of COVID, everybody. A big wave of COVID is happening right now. A lot of the mutual aid workers who were meeting these immigrants had been isolating because of COVID symptoms. So now people are just out here. So finally, the news media has picked this up as a story locally and is asking Muriel Bowser, the Democratic mayor here, like, what's the city going to do? And she's all like, well, we told FEMA to do something, and well, we told FEMA, but that is an insufficient response, because these people are not being met with obviously the needs that they have: housing, food, shelter, whatever. They need a lot of things. And the city is not trying to do that. So Greg Abbott, thinking he was doing something, has done something. But I loathe to call it a problem, because again, people are not hostile to immigrants here in this part of the country, because there's just so many. Like, how could you what's the point of being hostile to people when they outnumber you? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, you wouldn't be hostile to them anyway, because what have they done except for trying to find a better situation for themselves and leaving a bad situation that the United States put their country in the first place? So Greg Abbott, his fuckery's being felt long places.
And he's very proud of that, right? Like, I remember when that was happening a few months ago, and him talking about the fact that, like you said, this is Joe Biden's problem. Let's get him over to DC. And that's what I mean, Kim, in terms of, we don't do help. This is a Christian state, ain't it? And I thought that meant that we were supposed to be caring for the poor, caring for people who need help. But no. And this is really the kind of red meat that his base likes. So him doing that is just awesome for the folks around here.
What are you hearing in terms of, anecdotally or otherwise, the ways in which the abortion ban is starting to be felt? Because I think we're now 9-10-ish months away from when the abortion ban in Texas went into effect. It's at 6 weeks, so any abortions after 6 weeks will not be performed in the state of Texas. So now we're about 9 or 10 months away from that initial ban. So I would imagine the women who were precluded from getting abortions at the start of this are now starting to have these babies. Are we seeing any stories, or are you hearing anything about what that's looking like now in Texas?
I haven't. The thing that I've heard most recently, and this wasn't because of that initial ban, but of course the overturning of Roe, is that people have not been able to get miscarriage care. I've heard, and I don't know if I'm sure that's propaganda related or something, but less to do with people wanting, for lack of a better term, a traditional abortion, as opposed to some other either medical situations or other things that would cause you to have that same type of care. And so people have been getting denied that. My battery's gonna down on this computer. I gotta run and get my cord. I'll be right back.
Erica pulled one of my moves. I've definitely done that during a Burn It Down with Kim Brown. The stupid cord fell out of the computers. Well, anyway, Black Power Media, I have no idea what's going on in the chat. Not once. Actually, Doctor, are you here?
Yeah, you don't see me on the screen?
Nigga, I ain't looking at the screen. I'm trying to do other things. Things happening. and plus this stupid box in which I was sharing my screen is
No, actually I was sharing it. You wasn't. So
see, thank you, ear doctor. Look at
hey,
you.
listen, that's what production is about. So let's go ahead and take a quick break and
Please.
let's take a quick break and give y'all time to get y'all stuff together.
Yeah, my groceries. I gotta go get my groceries and then drop my groceries off on the front porch. I gotta go toot them down.
Y'all doing a great job. Y'all doing a great job.
Thank you. Remix morning show. Let's get it. Black Power Media. It's the ear doctor.
Yo. Yeah. What's good, everybody? What's good, everybody? At this time, I wanted to do another spotlight and talk about somebody that has done their thing, and it's a whole nother subject, especially now in this day and age about schools. So, who am I going to talk about at this time? No other than Ruby Bridges. That's right, Ruby Bridges. Now, you might know her, you might not, but she is a civil rights activist, Ruby Nell Bridges Hall. She was the first African American child to desegregate the all-white William France Elementary School in Louisiana during the New Orleans school desegregation crisis on November 14th, 1960. She is actually the subject of a painting, The Problem We All Live With, by Norman Rockwell. If you haven't seen that picture, here it is right here. I know a lot of people have seen it, but yes, this is the picture of Ruby Bridges. Now, this had to be a traumatic experience for this young girl, especially back then at that time. Her family relocated from Mississippi to New Orleans when she was 6 years old, and it was from a request from the National Association of Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP, who was volunteering people to get into these white schools. And her mom was like, let's do it. Her dad was a little hesitant, but this was going down the same time as the Brown versus Board of Education was decided. So she pretty much went to school, right? She went to this school surrounded by federal troops. This was back in 1957. And she went to this school, federal troops surrounded by her and all the students, like some of the white students, their parents was taking them out of the school, like, listen, you got to come out of here. So she had her own teacher. It was only one teacher that said, okay, I'll teach this girl. So she had her own teacher. After a while, some of the parents was like, all right, I'll let my white kids go back in school with her. And they finally wound up going back to school. She was getting threatened. She had to bring her own lunch. Some of the people was talking about poisoning her food in the cafeteria. So she had to bring her own lunch to school. I mean, she even had to have a therapist while she was there at school. But she, after a while, she did her thing. She wrote some books. She came back in January 2001. She was awarded the Presidential Citizens Medal by Bill Clinton. She also, Bridges Through My Eyes, won a Carter G. Woodson Book Award. So she's been out here doing her thing, going around and talking to different people. 2 elementary schools are named after Bridges, one in California and one in Washington. So big up to this sister. And I'm just posing the question, wondering, now that we're able to get this education and stuff, do we still need to send our kids to these schools that don't want them? Let's talk about it right here on the Remix Morning Show, y'all. All right, let's get it. Yeah.
I made it.
Yeah. Erica's back in the building.
If y'all have been wondering why they don't let me on, this morning why they won't let me on is because of this.
Technical problems, boy. I tell you.
I think that full moon we just had the other night is still resonating very strongly here.
It's been around for a while with Erica, then, boy.
Oh shit!
Look, I got COVID brain. So Kim, you talk about COVID still going. All this time, Kim, I'm trying. Like you said, I'm not like the ear doctor. I'm not raw dog in the air. I'm got my mask on good all the time. I'm out here not talking to nobody because I don't like people anyway. So it's good staying in my house, minding my business. Messed around, went on vacation. All of us came back with COVID. Oh my gosh. So I'm blaming this on the COVID brain.
So what you get on a cruise ship or something?
No, I did not get on a cruise ship.
Got on the air. Did you fly?
I did. I did fly.
I think that's probably did it.
I got my KF94s. I got my good mask. I spent $2 a mask on to keep like.
Girl, but was anybody else wearing masks?
My family.
I mean, I'm talking about anybody else besides y'all. Was anybody else wearing masks on the plane? Because from what I understand, nobody is wearing masks.
No.
Right. That's the problem. So even if you were masked using a good mask, if very few others are masking, it.
Yes. And so 3 of us got it. My younger daughter actually got it earlier in the year. And so she's the only one who didn't get it. So I'm like, man, it just.
So yeah. I'm interested, Erica, since you took the shots, right?
I did. I've had 3 ear doctor.
Okay. So how was it experiencing COVID after you had the shots?
Well, I mean, I don't know what it would have been like before, right? But my case was very mild, right? I can't complain at all. It's just the annoying. It did take a couple of days, right, to feel better because I don't get sick at all, right? But it was a mild case. My husband had it a little bit worse than I did. So
okay. People think I'm up here setting somebody up. See, Big Till, you gotta stop it. I was just asking. Listen, because I told you, like, when y'all need to know about people that don't take the shot, ask me. And when I need to know about people that take the shot, I'm gonna ask y'all.
Have you had it, or you still been?
Nah.
It's always people like you.
I'm in these streets.
It's a soldier out here, soldier. he's a ginger and garlic soldier out here.
Hey, you know, on my holistic living and all that stuff.
Oregano oil his way through this shit. I don't blame you, bro.
Hey,
like,
I mean, if it hasn't bothered me, and I haven't, given it to other people.
Which is impressive, ear doctor. I mean, they need to study you, honestly, because I don't think that you have been not going places because of COVID. It seems like you've been very much out here in these streets.
I want to see if he got the antibody. He probably had it and just ain't know it. I don't really believe all that.
I've been in these streets.
Maskless and unvaccinated. I mean, I'm a tiny bit impressed. I'm not gonna lie.
And my kids are like straight up, they still wearing a mask each and every time they leave the house, this, that, and the third. And they be like, Daddy, we going in the store. You got your mask? I'm like, I look at them like, come on. I ain't got no mask.
You setting a bad.
No, don't even say that. Because the thing is, now they be like, damn, Daddy was right.
No, Daddy.
It's like Daddy was right. He is not. They kept thinking I was gonna get sick.
Daddy just ain't got pregnant yet.
They kept thinking Dad was gonna get sick and all this. I was like, chill. I'm good. And now they're like, okay. And now they want to eat a little more healthier like me. I'm like, oh, now you want to, eat more healthy. You're hearing about how healthy eating and certain things can build up your immune system. Okay.
But ear doctor, we wear masks to not get other people sick, right? So even if you yourself never had symptoms, you may have been an asymptomatic carrier and might have just been spreading COVID all around Atlanta with not a care in the world. But
I'm around.
But that monkeypox, we gonna know when you got that though, ear doctor. We gonna know it.
I ain't catching that. I ain't out there like that. Monkeypox, man, please.
But I'm glad you brought up monkeypox though, Erica, because the thing I'm not appreciating about the monkeypox conversation is that it's being framed as an LGBTQ kind of disease, and I'm like,
when it ain't.
It is absolutely not that. Monkeypox is not a sexually transmitted infection. It's not a sexually transmitted disease. It's you can get monkeypox by touching people, just by having close contact with folks. And I'm disappointed in our public health officials not giving any sort of messaging or guidance about how to not contract monkeypox.
Doesn't it feel like the 80s again to you? Like,
yes,
this is just, low key like HIV all over again in terms of the messaging. And I, like you, I'm sick of it.
Man, this is stuff out there. I just don't know. I like to say, even you catching it, Erica, that's still kind of wild to me that people are still catching it. And then they talking about, I'm seeing a lot more people masked up now, like you saying, Kim, another wave is coming. I'm seeing a lot
We
more.
It's
in it.
her.
We in it. We are in it. We are in the wave. We are in the wave. And we have not seen the end of COVID. We have not seen the end of COVID variants and mutations. And what scares the shit out of about me to COVID about COVID is long COVID. Like I don't want the
Yes.
long COVID. I don't want long COVID. I will avoid COVID as much as I can because I don't want long COVID. Like those odds are just too high. You know, 1 in 4, 1 in 5 people who have COVID will be left with some long COVID symptom. I don't want that shit. I don't want no parts of it because I mean shit. I'm middle aged. I can't be going into my sunset years with some shit that I potentially hopefully could have avoided. So anyway, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's not good.
A big on the story I did about Ruby Bridges, how do y'all feel about still trying to get into these white schools? Is it still necessary now that because I know I can understand back then we didn't have the books, we didn't have the the technology at sometimes, but now it's like we can get grants and whatever for our own schools and provide our kids with the right education. Because I just did a Black Man Lab that I do every Monday and Tuesday,
Mhm.
and we got to talk to the kids and ask them the question like, what can the community do for you? And I know one of the big things is we need a safe place to educate, because it's like it's pretty much an old curriculum, and
Mhm.
it's still pushing this old curriculum. And now you got stuff where you need to have a school that's teaching trades, you need a school that's teaching how to do your taxes, a whole bunch of other stuff that we don't even need to know about the old school system. So do y'all think we still need to be trying to get in these Yales and stuff like that?
Oh, so you're talking about universities, or you're talking about K-12 schools, or?
Both.
Okay. Well, in general, in terms of K-12 schools are in many places as segregated as they were before, right? So the ethnic and racial makeup of the schools hasn't changed. People are still going to segregated schools oftentimes.
Mhm.
But in terms of people's desire, I think people's desire is for a good education for their kids. I don't necessarily think that people in general I want to have my kids educated around people that are not like them or white people, but I just want a good education for my kids.
But it's
And
traumatic, ain't it, for the
well,
kid?
I think I think it depends, and I think parents do have to make some hard decisions. So, for example, the place where I live, kind of in an area that's a little bit strange in terms of the school. So there's a school that we're zoned to for elementary school that is 99%, or they have 0% of the kids are socially a low social economic status. So none of the kids are low social economic status, right? And so 2/3 of those kids are white, maybe not quite a third of them are Indian, and the rest of them are, a few Black kids, a few Latino kids, and, other kids. There's a school that's the same distance from my house that has 2/3 socioeconomically disadvantaged kids in it. It's what they call a Title I school. 2/3 of the population of the school are Hispanic Latino kids. Then there's a pretty heavy Indian population, and then white kids, and then a few others. So I had to make some decisions about who do I want culturally my children to be around. What kind of an environment would I prefer them? Because I do believe in the public school system. And I think when people divest of it, what happens is, like, move to charter schools, they just don't have the same support. So I have a child who has dyslexia, for example, and in charter schools, they don't have to have the same support. They don't have to have the same support for children who have special needs and all these that the federal government mandates in public schools. So we made a decision to put our kids in the school with kids who are more diverse culturally, and that's just what we preferred. And so I think it's easy to sort of try to distill it down to people want to go to a white school. And I think that there are just, as a parent, hard decisions you have to make based on the choices you have. Now, I also have the ability to take my kids to this other school. There's no bus because I chose a different route for my kids. And so sometimes, people have to think about, do I have a way to get my kids there if I'm taking them and want to put them somewhere? So it's just a lot of hard questions. And I don't think, of course, there are any good answers we can give today. I'm not an expert at all. But I just don't think it's a simple, people want their kids to go to school with white kids. I don't think that's it.
Is a good education more because it seems like the less students you have in the class, the better education is. I guess that's why you got the public and private schools where they know it's going to be a certain amount of kids in the class where a teacher can actually have one-on-ones with their students. But in the public schools, it's like 30 kids in the class, and the teacher can't really get around and do their thing like that.
I think
So
that depends, like everything else, that depends on the school and depends on the situation. Because again, because I made this different choice for my kids, my school side, my class size for my kids is actually smaller at the school we go to versus the one we were zoned to for a couple of reasons. It 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 really depends, and a lot of times it's a crapshoot. And honestly, for me, I found that it's less even about the school and more about that one teacher, right, or those two
mm,
teachers that might be in the class. Like you can send your kids to a school that is well rated and people rave about, and they get in the classroom with the wrong teacher and it's over at
Mm.
the elementary level, right? So it's very hard. It has been very hard for me in terms of, and for high school, I'm thinking about these same things. Do I want my kids to go to a school that's full of white children, or do I want to send them to a school that is more ethnically diverse, more diverse financially, and even though their friends are going to the other school? These are the
yeah,
kinds of
Mm.
conversations we're having.
yeah, because college is different. It's about what the kids want to do. Like my son, for instance, he's about to go to college next year, and he's in art, so he's
Mhm.
looking at like SCAD, a college about art. Now I want him to go to HBCU. I want him to go to Howard, Morris Brown, Morehouse, or whatever, Clark, Atlanta, but their programs when it comes to art aren't like these other programs, and they're giving like different scholarships and stuff like that. But I'm like, yo, go to this Georgia State school so you'll at least be around some black people. Because my whole thing is I brag about Morris Brown so much because it was an experience. Like, yeah, I could have went to Brown, Yale, and got this education, but I wouldn't have the experience. And that experience caused me to network, caused me to have lifelong friends. I have friends, people that went to Georgia Tech, and they don't have friends from college. They
I'm
just
with you,
went there for
Kim.
the
I
education.
saw the face you was giving him, Kim, and I'm giving him the same
I'm
face.
sorry. I didn't. I mean, I didn't know that Brown and Yale was was on Ear Doctor's list in addition to Morris Brown. That's impressive, Ear Doctor.
Oh
I
no,
didn't know.
it wasn't on my list.
Oh,
Trust me.
okay. I was gonna say.
But Ear Doctor, here's the point that I think people sometimes miss out on. So I went to the University of Texas at Austin, which is the big. It used to be like the biggest university. It's a big old place, right? So at the time I went there, 50,000 students. 4 or 5% of them used to be black, and I to this day, so 30 years later, not quite 30 years. It's been a long time. 25 years later. Um, we have this cohort, all the black people in the school were together, and that's who you hung around with. Like we had and hung out and had as many black kids at UT as you probably did at Morris Brown, and we were all hanging out together. It wasn't like
But your professors,
no.
your
No,
professors wasn't black. All my professors was black. I never had a white professor, so they were
no.
able to work with me a little bit more and make sure I graduated on time. But go ahead.
I'm just saying, I think that in general, I think that it's possible to create the community that you want. And I'm oversimplifying this, of course, but it is possible to go to a PWI and to have a cohort of whatever kind that you want to cultivate and build and have. And, we did things like lobbying. For us, it was a big deal to lobby to have a Malcolm X lounge that they still have so many years ago. Lobbying for there to be a statue of MLK at the university. So getting together, and at the time that was a big deal for us, right?
Mm.
But you can create those communities even in PWI. So I would just say, in relationship to your son, yes, that would be great if he could go to an HBCU. And I also think about how cool it would have been, and do I want that for my kids too? But I think you can make those communities wherever.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
agree.
I don't know.
Well said. Let him
He
figure
like,
it out, Ear Doctor. Let him go where he wants to go, and
I'm
he'll,
I'm gonna
he'll
let him
find
go.
his people.
Yeah, yeah. Nah, if it's all about this, he says he wants to be a freelance artist.
Hmm.
I'm like, bro, I don't know if you need to go to college for that. I mean, first of all, make me a Suns logo, a Suns Sundays logo, and then we'll talk about it. I even put some money in your pocket. But it's like depending on nowadays in schools and colleges, if these kids aren't going for certain things,
I
why
agree.
even send them? Because
Yeah.
that's too much money to be in debt.
Undergrad is a huge scam. It is a ginormous
Scam.
scam.
Oh, scam.
It's a
But it is about that child developing and learning how to get out the house, make their own decisions. Do we have to pay that much money for that? But get a regular job and then figure it out yourself. I'm still trying to figure that out, but
Well, it needs to do something. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? There needs to be some sort of, post-secondary education, whether or not it's in the college setting or even if he just get like an apprenticeship. I don't know how it works for artists. But I agree. Like if I had a child, I would probably be actively discouraging them to go to college unless they was getting a full ride. Like
right. That's
seriously,
what I
because I'd
said.
be like, well, unless you're going to be a lawyer, an accountant, and an engineer,
Hmm.
if you want to do one of them things, okay, then that's different. But you
Yeah,
just want to go, in Huckabuck for the first couple years,
find
no,
yourself. Yeah,
no,
find yourself. You can find yourself in a room. What are you
find
talking about?
yourself at community college, like my mama made me go to community college. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's other ways to do that. But I feel
But
like undergrad is such a scam. It's such a scam. Like it's an immediate debt trap that
yeah,
young people find themselves in the some of the most vulnerable points of their young adult lives. Like, you're staring down this tens of $1,000s worth of debt. And then you're also trying to survive yourself, trying not to be a burden on your parents. You know what I'm saying? Trying to survive yourself. and
hmm
I just feel like though just paying for college, I just know how much that set me back from experiences, from delaying certain adult milestones because I had this stupid fucking student loan. You know what I'm saying? And for to do what I do, you don't need no goddamn degree to be a journalist. You
right.
don't, because
You
we just
don't.
talked about this shit. They already training you in the wrong direction anyway, to only report on official sources. So you don't need no degree to be no journalist. You need to be studying up under a person whose work and whose reputation that you find valuable. So anyway, or to be a broadcaster, any of that. So yeah, if you can wait, an artist and doctor, nah,
Nah,
don't let
nah.
me
Well,
go
but
there.
here's also the difference
Right.
from when I went to school, and this is one of the failures of a lack of policy and action that's a real tangible thing. So me and my cohort who went to school on an affirmative action scholarship. That's essentially what it was. So it was specifically for Black, Hispanic, Native students. And I didn't have to pay to go to college. The state of Texas paid for me and my friends to go to college.
Nice.
And but shortly thereafter, so maybe 3 or 4 years after I started, there was this landmark court case that said, nope, y'all can't do that anymore. Affirmative action cannot happen like this, and y'all need to try to figure out another way to do it. And so all those kids coming behind us were not able to have that benefit. And what that did for so many in my cohort and the ones before is you had these people who left Kim that didn't have some still had loans, right? But didn't have that burden and were able to then just go off and start to live. And
Mhm.
that is a real failure of policy that essentially, I mean, I can't blame everything on the boomers, but the people who were in charge at the time
Mhm.
really did not make sure that those things, those safety nets stayed in place for people who came after us. And so now you have all these people who don't have the benefit. And that breaks my heart for real.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I went to school for communication, got a degree in African studies. Last year of college, I opened up a pizza place. And all through college, I was throwing parties and stuff like that. So I was always an entrepreneur. I might have had one or two jobs working for anybody ever, but I always was an entrepreneur. So it was like I learned how to hustle in that college, and I had a whole bunch of customers right around me. So it was like, okay, I'm never working for nobody. And then getting the studies degree of learning about our history and learning how powerful we are as a people and realizing I could do anything. I was like, man, there's no way I can't do this without having to work for somebody. And I was like, slavery's over. I'm not being a slave for nobody no more. So it was those things that gave me. That's why I brag about Morris Brown. I'm like, listen, you don't understand the experience you get when you're around your people and they want to see you succeed. So it was a beautiful experience for me. So big up NBC.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted the HBCU experience, but I couldn't get it. I
Yeah.
applied to Howard and I applied to Clark and I got into both of them. And neither of those schools had on-campus housing available. Howard had on-campus housing available, but their freshman dorms didn't have air conditioning. And my mother said, I'm not putting you in no dorm with no AC. It's not happening. So
it's like all black colleges, boy.
Right. I mean, but for Howard not having air, I would have probably went to Howard. But I went to community college and then ended up at Temple. I don't even know if I would call Temple. We've had this conversation, haven't we? Chat, is Temple a PWI?
Cut it out,
I
Andre.
don't think so. I don't know. I don't know what Temple is.
Temple now. It is a PWI, ain't it?
What you mean? What you call it, Kim? What you call it? What would you call it? Or
I called it. Everybody was on my campus except for we did not have a strong representation of Latinos, but everybody else was there. So I mean, I saw plenty of black folks. I had black professors. I had white professors. I saw white folks. Like Temple reminded me of Central Maryland, actually, like just a very diverse, but surrounded by hood. Like I loved North Philly. Like Temple has gentrified North Philadelphia in a very bad way, from what I understand, not in a good way positively for the residents. But when I was there, North Philly was still hood, and I really appreciated that. I appreciated being in that urban environment. That was my first time ever living in a city, so I appreciated Philly for that big time.
Philly, home of cheesesteaks.
Yes, and yeah, they will bust you in Philly. Make no mistake.
And Leia always saying, I don't know how to say John right. Big up Leia Boggs in the chat room. This John.
John. And that's the other thing I loved about Philly, because like the slang to me wasn't that different from DC. Because like they're like, yeah, that's my John. I'm like, John, like in DC, Maryland, we got John. It's the John.
The joint, yeah.
No, not joint. It's John.
Say John.
Okay. It's the John.
And what do you call the ladies out in Texas there, Erica?
You know, I don't know. I'm old. I don't know what people get called. Ain't nobody called me nothing in a long time.
Oh,
what was they calling you in college? What was they calling you in college?
I don't know what they used to call you, Shorty.
Erica the Shorty, Erica the Pony. Not a stallion.
No.
I'm a pony too. That's why I said pony, because I'm only 5. I'm 5'2", so no, I'm far from a stallion.
Nah, but big up to everybody for tuning in today on the Remix Morning Show. Make sure y'all hit that like button if you haven't already, and subscribe and all that beautiful thing. And check out Brokish. What's up with the new episode of Brokish?
Well, we have been on a hiatus. We take a break in the summertime. And actually, this is big news. I haven't told anybody this. Amber and I need to figure out what we're doing. I'm gonna start a PhD program in August.
Hey! Oh my goodness! Congratulations!
More learning. I hear that.
Yeah. So I don't know what that means for my life in general. Like what I'm gonna do, what I'm not gonna do, all of that kind of stuff.
Why you feel you need to get a PhD?
I don't feel like I need to, but for people who don't know, I worked for like 25 years in corporate America in like product management, financial technology, all of that kind of stuff, right? And so that's kind of why I liked Brokish too, because I've for a long time worked in money spaces. But anyway, so I did that, and then I stopped my job. I stopped working in the pandemic like a lot of people did, and sort of reassessed everything. And now I'm just thinking about life in a less linear way. And so I don't know. I don't know if I want to actually finish the PhD. I'm just going to start it and try and see how it goes. And I don't have any plans. People are like, what you going to do? I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. What you say, Kim?
What is it going to be in?
Sociology.
Okay, see, at least that's interesting. Well, I didn't mean to say it like that, because I didn't know where you was going with corporate America. I'm like, what's she about to get her PhD in? Economics or something crazy? But no, sociology. Yeah, at least that's interesting.
Yeah. So it's totally different. So I don't, like I said, my life is just on some, I don't know what I'm doing or.
So you're going to be able to break down how people socialize?
I'll leave that up to you. That's you.
Yeah.
That's what the ear doctor do.
And give you a good mix. That's what I do. And big up to everybody that tune in Sundays for the wedding day mix, I was able to take people through a journey and show them how a DJ is supposed to perform a wedding and what music is supposed to be played. So it was a nice little tutorial. Thank y'all for showing up.
That's dope. I might have to go back and watch that. Like
Yeah,
that's the only reason I've ever wanted to get married is to have a reception. And like, ooh, fuck marriage. Can I have a reception? No, that sounds like fun.
It could be a fun day. I could actually be a wedding planner. I've done so many weddings. I mean, it could really be a fun day, especially if you custom make it how you want to.
Why don't you expand your business?
It's a possibility. I got so many different things I want to do. I want to build a school. I want to do so many different things. But yeah, because even I fell in love with teaching the kids podcasts and stuff. I was like, I could really see myself doing that, teaching them how to do media podcasts and different things like that. So we're gonna see. It's a lot of things. That's why we got patreon.com for Black Power Media. That's why we putting money in the pot so we can have all these ideas and put them into something solid. We don't want to just say, oh, we're doing this, that, and the third and not do it. You know what I'm saying? So y'all hold us accountable, Black Power Media people. Hold us accountable.
They will. I'm certain they have.
Always.
This episode, especially. We appreciate y'all big time. Go ahead and hit that that like and that thumbs up before y'all get up out of here. And Doctor, we gonna rock out these numbers to the rest of the week. We gonna get these joints up because we need our mixes. Even though you was hating on the mix last week, apparently, and took it down for a second. But
yeah, I fixed it. I had to edit something at the end, so it was able to be played again. But it's back up, so y'all can check that one out. And yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. We will see y'all tomorrow, 8 a.m. in the morning, right here on the Remix Morning Show, y'all. Peace.
Bye, y'all.
Yeah.